Nu är vi framme vid dagens andra internationella utblick. SeQF är ju som sagt bara en liten kugge i ett ganska stort maskineri. Och vi har idag förmånen att ha Iraklis Pliakis med oss. Iraklis är expert på frågor som rör kvalifikationer, referensramar och så vidare. Och jobbar på Cedefop, EUs myndighet som arbetar med frågor om till exempel yrkesutbildning, EQF, validering med mera. Iraklis har ansvar bland annat för den inventering som görs av de olika nationella referensramarna runt om i Europa som genomförs vartannat år. Och det är resultatet från den inventeringen som Iraklis kommer berätta mer om för oss här idag. Iraklis, thank you for joining us today for this anniversary conference for the SeQF.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. So with that said, I'm going to leave the floor, or rather the screen, to you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Anna, for inviting me. Good morning to all from Thessaloniki. And of course, happy anniversary. And may I wish you also many happy and productive returns for your framework. I'm really happy that I'm invited because, since you know, EQF is a cooperative process. And here at Cedefop, we often receive very useful feedback, insights on NQF national developments from Sweden. But also, we often receive feedback from projects that you run, like the Nova Nordic project, which was very useful for our analysis. But most importantly, Sweden is always very willing to cooperate with other countries in this process, the EQF process. For instance, through peer learning activities or other type of events that we are organizing. So also for me today, it's a great opportunity to show you some of our findings, interim findings on this happy anniversary. Before presenting these insights to you, let me briefly introduce to you Cedefop, who we are and what we do. We are one of the first decentralized EU agencies, and actually we are acting like a knowledge broker between the European and the national level. Cedefop was set up in 1975 in Berlin, and for the last 30 years we have been in Thessaloniki. So, as you can see, it's also our 50th anniversary this year. Which are the main strands of our work? We focus on skills and the labor market. We try to identify the skill needs or how to tackle skills mismatches. Of course, we have our VET Knowledge Center. We are an organization that is primarily focusing on VET. We focus on topics like how to support VET teachers or how to tackle early school leaving. And I'm also working in the department for delivering VET and qualifications. Apart from focusing on EQF and QFs, we are also working on VET policies, monitoring VET policies across EU countries, and projects focusing on micro-credentials or recognition of qualifications. Now, let's focus on the EQF and national qualification frameworks. As you can see in this map, there are 41 countries participating in the EQF process. 37 countries have already linked their framework to the EQF. The year 2024 was a milestone for the EQF process because in 2024, all EU member states linked their frameworks to the EQF. The EQF is a paradigm around the globe, and of course, the national qualification frameworks that are linked to them. Quite a lot of countries and regions across the globe are using the EQF and NQFs as an example of how to set up national qualification frameworks or regional qualification frameworks. European frameworks are quite advanced. As you can see, 22 are at an operational stage and 10 are at an activation stage, but pretty much functioning well. Why I'm using a map? Because I believe that the EQF process it's a crucial process that links countries' qualifications from different countries. It's a cooperative and voluntary process, but national qualification frameworks are crucial for this to be materialized. I'm using the example of a map, and you can also have in your mind a Google map, because the Google map gives you the highways and the small roads and helps you navigate through the city. But what we do here, of course, we are not interested in streets, but we are trying to offer to individuals a map of qualifications to help them navigate, to find their learning pathway. And when we are building a qualification map, we are not only interested on the highways, meaning what we usually call full formal qualifications, but also to other types of qualification, because only if an individual is aware of all the options that he or she has, then they will be able to build their learning pathways. And that's why countries are building comprehensive NQFs, included not only formal qualifications, but also qualifications, for instance, awarded outside formal education and training. And this is where Sweden has been done a lot of work in the recent years. Another major issue with this qualification map is that we should give the possibility to individuals to zoom in this map. For instance, in a Google Maps, we are able to zoom in and see even the streets and the houses on the streets. But in our qualification maps, what we need is to give the possibility to individuals to see the learning outcomes of this qualification. And this is where qualification databases and registers come in. Countries are building databases in order to give the possibility to individuals to get a lot of different information on qualification and on learning outcomes. So individuals, learners, workers, employers, to be able to know what a qualification is offering, meaning what kind of skills, what kind of knowledge, what kind of competencies, and how they can use this qualification map. Here, I will use a picture from our NQF online tool. If we have, let's say, for instance, an employer from Austria and a candidate from Ireland, the employer doesn't know qualifications from Ireland, but what the company can see is at which level is the qualification of the candidate. So if the candidate holds a qualification at EQF level 8 in Ireland, that means that is at EQF level 6. And then they know that there is a bachelor degree in Austria or other types of qualifications that they know about, and they can link, they can understand the level of the qualification of the Irish candidate. And of course, through the EQF, they can get a glimpse of the learning outcomes that this qualification is offering, meaning skills, competencies, and knowledge. Now, as I said, countries are building comprehensive NQFs. In the past, it used to be only about formal qualification. Now there is a trend to open frameworks to qualifications awarded outside formal education and training. As you can see, in 2019, only 7 member states had open NQFs to qualifications awarded outside formal education and training. Now there are 18 member states that have already included or are open to such qualifications. But what is important is that the number of qualifications included is increasing. And Sweden here has really progressed in the last years, and this is very much welcome and crucial in order to be able to present in the best possible way the qualification system of the country. When we are discussing comprehensive NQFs, we do not only refer to qualifications awarded within formal education or outside formal education. We refer to different types of qualification because, for instance, now we have micro-credentials, we have partial qualifications. So we need to incorporate all these qualifications in the framework, and countries are working towards this direction. For instance, there are 14 countries that have already included micro-credentials, or there are countries, 5 countries that have already included international qualifications in their frameworks. Partial qualifications are often included. And of course, what is crucial is that almost all countries are working towards offering the possibility to individuals to get a formal qualification or a full qualification through validation procedures. Now, just to briefly discuss the main areas of use of the frameworks and why they are important. They are important to countries for designing or redesigning qualification based on the level descriptors, the learning outcomes that qualification should offer at a given level. Also, quite often, including a qualification in a framework is considered by individuals, employers, learners, workers as a quality stamp. And NQF are crucially contributing to increasing quality assurance of qualification. They are often used by labor market stakeholders. Quite often, recently, countries are reporting to us that NQF levels are used even in job advertisements, of course, at a limited extent. Now, if I may highlight some areas of impact of the NQFs. Definitely, they have contributed to increasing transparency and comparability of qualifications, meaning enabling people to get a better understanding of what the qualification is about. But also, they have promoted dialogue between education and training system and the labor market to enable qualification better address the needs of the labor market and of society in broader terms. And of course, what is crucial for us is that NQFs are also promoting permeability of the education system, meaning giving the possibility to learners to continue their learning pathways or changing subsystem within the education system or across borders. And this is also very crucial. But of course, there are still challenges. One challenge that I would like to highlight is that we definitely have to work harder as the EQF community to promote NQFs to the broader public, to make learners, workers, employees, job seekers better understand what NQFs are about, how they can use them in order to showcase their skills, competencies, but also navigate through education system. And with this, I would like to thank you very much.
Thank you, Iraklis. Very, very interesting to be able to follow what's happening around Europe and around the world, actually, when it comes to the development of the national qualification frameworks. Before I let you go today, I would like to ask you, let's say a wrap-up question, because a part of the conference today is about looking to the future and what's coming next for the development for the Swedish qualification framework. So what do you see as the next steps for the evolution of national qualification frameworks, and what will be the important next step for countries to take to continue developing their frameworks?
Mm-hmm. Thanks a lot for the question. It's very, very interesting and challenging at the same time, because we are living in a period that there are huge technological changes, for instance, that also influence qualifications and qualification frameworks. At the same time, we're living in a period where we are changing. So quite often we hear that qualifications are not so important anymore and we should focus more on skills. So initially, what I would like to stress is that we need to find ways that qualifications remain relevant, because it's a crucial part of our education system. And of course, qualification frameworks remain relevant. At this moment, this year, the European Union has published the Union of Skills. And also, there is an aim to develop a Skills for Stability initiative. And in this initiative, national qualification frameworks, and of course the EQF, can be the backbone. Why? Because we have already established an infrastructure, a structure, where countries can cooperate in showcasing the skills, the knowledge and competencies that qualifications are offering. And at the same time, we live in a period that the European Union is facing the challenge of the aging population. So we have to ensure that we can have mobility within the EU, but also in a way try to take advantage, use the skills, competencies, and knowledge from people from third countries that are coming into our union. So actually, all these are targets that the NQFs, the frameworks of qualifications, can really support. For instance, the countries are using increasingly the NQFs in supporting recognition procedures. I have seen a very interesting tool that we have developed in Sweden about comparing qualifications from countries all in the European Union, but also outside the European Union. And this is a very, very interesting tool that we should invest on this and provide the individual the opportunity to get a better understanding of qualification. So we have to keep on working in making our qualification transparent. And NQS is a very valuable tool in order to make them transparent. And of course, building the databases, because digitalization is already here. It's not something that it's in the distant future. So we have to remain relevant at all times. I would try in a nutshell to present this. I don't know if I was quite clear on my answer, but I guess this is a challenging future, but we have already the tools to keep up the good work and cooperation among countries, because for the last 4 years that I have been working on the EQF process, what I admire the most is that we have the chance to learn from each other. And whenever I am participating in an event like this, or I am in contact with national representatives, I always have the feeling that I get a lot of information. So thanks a lot for inviting me here.
Thank you so much. It's an interesting answer to the question, I think, and I think you touch upon many aspects that will be important going forward. But I think the transparency and the cooperation that the EQF process brings with it is, for me, very, very important. And I'm happy that you mentioned the tool, because later today, we will get a chance to listen to colleagues from Universitets- och högskolerådet here in Sweden, who has actually developed the tool that you mentioned. So that's very good. So Iraklis, again, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for giving this presentation. I think it's very valuable for people here in Sweden, for our stakeholders, to learn more about the fact that the SeQF is only a small part of a much bigger infrastructure. So thank you very much, and perhaps we'll see you at, let's say, 5 or 10 years again when we have our next anniversary. So
of course, why not?
With that, thank you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day, and again, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Bye-bye.